Hello, space friends. Captain Snuggles here. Do you want to see K's getting absolutely trounced by single AI-controlled destroyers? Do you want to see a single behemoth beat an eye? I know you do, so that's what I'm going to show you today. I am saying single destroyers, not solo destroyers, because I will be using fighter escorts, but only up to twice the launch pad space of the ships. Small escort wings that can launch and dock at a moment's notice. Even the small escort wings make a huge difference, and we're going to see how they can synergize with the destroyers to produce some insane results. Here are the ships. I'm using the three E-class destroyers, the older Odysseus E and the brand new Behemoth E and Phoenix E. Their escorts are She heavy fighters, and the Odysseus gets Cobras for its medium launch pad. All ships are hot off the assembly line with completely novice crews, although I did give the destroyers 2-star captains. I am not using specialized anti-capital fits on any of the ships. I'm using general-purpose loadouts that you might find on just a regular patrol group to simulate what might happen if you send a standard patrol up against a Xenon capital ship. Here are the fits. Every ship has all Argon plasma in the large turrets, 4 medium Argon flak, 2 medium dumbfire loaded with heavy dumbfire Mark II, and all remaining medium turrets loaded with medium plasma for just a little extra oomph. All plasma is set to attack capitals first, all flak is set to shoot missiles first, and all missiles are set to attack capitals only. I position the missiles in each ship's strongest firing arc. Again, these are general-purpose fits designed to fight a variety of targets and stay on the battlefield for a long time before needing to rearm. Same goes for the She and the Cobra, general-purpose fits based around thermal disintegrators. I picked these ships because they're very commonly used in a variety of roles. They're also very powerful, which is one reason why I limited the number of escorts to just twice the number of launch pads. Now this video started out as just some cool clips, but as always I couldn't help doing some science along the way. With each ship I conducted 6 runs against an isolated K. 1 standard attack, 1 attack to disable, and 4 coordinated attacks with default settings. There is sometimes traffic nearby, and sometimes civilian ships and Xenon fighters did wander into the fights. Therefore the runs are not perfect replicates, but I did discard and redo any runs that were obviously massive outliers. Now, that's enough technical talk. Let's get to the action. Our first clip features the Behemoth E, the Argon destroyer. The Behemoth has 4 small launch pads, which means it is carrying 8 She's. They're arranged into 2 wings of 4, and both wings are set to attack. This isn't the fastest or the flashiest clip that the Behemoth had, but it is my favorite because it shows the Behemoth coming in at the least favorable angle possible. It and the K are facing each other, and it's below the K, which means, well, at least on the initial approach that was true. It means the initial approach was in the K's optimal firing arc, and even still, when coming at the K from below is a very bad angle for the Behemoth. So theoretically, if the K just charged down at it, that Behemoth would be in trouble. But, although you see it attempting that, you will very quickly see it change course, because the She's are on top of it, and they are laying into it with thermal disintegrators. You can see that chip damage bleeding through the shields, slowly chewing away at the hull, which is forcing the K to respond, dropping its speed and trying to pivot around to face the fighters, which has given the Behemoth the perfect opportunity to set up a firing angle, shooting up from below, which is always nice to see. It's laying into this K with its main batteries and with its dumbfires. And at this point, it's looking very textbook. Missiles are raining down on the most vulnerable parts of K. You can see secondary explosions going off. The lead engines are exploding or just about to explode, and the She's, of course, are doing a great job of stripping modules as well. Even though this is not the attack to disable run, this is just the coordinated attack run, the Behemoth's doing a great job of destroying engines and turrets. One engine is totally destroyed, one engine is functionally destroyed, and, well, the writing's on the wall on this one. We are speeding it up and cruising on through to the end because this is a textbook finish from the Behemoth. Absolutely picture perfect. Alright, moving on to the Phoenix E, the Teladi destroyer. Once again, this is not the absolute best clip the Phoenix had, but it is a solid one, and it does showcase some of the strengths and weaknesses that this ship has. Phoenix only has 2 small launch pads, which means it can only field 4 Shis, only half as many as the Behemoth, and we are going to see them struggle to pin down the K in the same way that the Behemoths did. Still, you can see them raking the K's hull with thermal disintegrator fire, doing some pretty good ship damage, bleeding through the shields. But the big difference here is that the K can shoo them all away pretty much at once, so now they're not firing at all. They've all been pushed back by the K's turrets. Whereas the Behemoth, because it had twice as many fighters, was able to put up just constant thermal disintegrator fire and really keep the K from maneuvering. That being said, it is still looking like this was good enough. The Phoenix has moved into a firing position and is beginning to open up. We're seeing the Phoenix is taking sort of an iterative approach here. Firing, moving forward, firing again, sort of testing the waters, seeing how its shots do, then readjusting. It does have almost as good of a firing angle as the Behemoth did, but this time the K is able to pivot around, and it looks like most of the Phoenix shots are landing right on the stern there and not on the engines, which, when combined with the much smaller escort wing, means this is going to be a longer and tougher fight. But Phoenix has gotten close enough to open up with plasma now, at least somewhat. And you continue to see that cycle on the escorts of engaging, doing some damage, then getting shooed back. And that can be an issue because of this right here. Because the escorts can't keep up constant fire, the K is able to reposition and get into what looked like a very intimidating firing angle. But the escorts have re-engaged, and between that and the damage that the Phoenix is doing, does not look like the K is going to move straight in. It's trying some alternate approach. But it's not looking too healthy at all. Once again, this is looking pretty textbook now. Still have to be worried about the K sort of moving in, trying to get above the Phoenix, but I don't think we need to be worried for much longer, because that is a lot of damage coming in now. Yep, that K is just about to go down, getting ourselves into a nice picturesque vantage point here. And once again, this was a pretty cookie-cutter sort of run here, but you did see there were a couple of scarier moments just resulting from that smaller escort wing. And that's it. There we go. And that brings us to the Odysseus. I'm sure this is fine. I'm sure this is fine. We're definitely going to recover from this. No worries. No problem. Hey, there we go. Look, perfect recovery. Clearly, we have pulled back and regrouped and re-engaged. But that ship definitely did not explode, and I definitely did not reload the save. Now then, the Odysseus, as you saw in that last clip, did struggle more than the others, but it got some wins in, and this is one of them. So the Odysseus has 2 small launch pads and 1 medium launch pad, which means it's carrying 4 Shis and 2 Cobras. Shis are on attack, Cobras are on defense. Now, the Odysseus did struggle with positioning somewhat. To some extent, all the destroyers had some similar issues, but the Odysseus really suffered from this. Among other things, it tended to start a little bit too far back, and so you can see it's just barely gotten onto the screen, but 1 escort is already down, and the second one, yep, just dropped. But it is entering firing range now, has a good shot lined up, and is, yep, opening up with the main batteries, with plasma and missiles soon to follow. When the Odysseus was able to get into these positions, it did pretty well, because, well, it does a lot of damage. It has the most damage out of these 3 ships. That being said, the escorts are still getting hammered out there. The Cobra has decided to park right next to the K. Even with ship sets defense, I did not see this behavior very often, so I'm not sure why that is happening here. But it looks very likely to cost that Cobra its life. Yep, there it goes. Now it's looking a little scary here, as the K has cleared a lot of escorts and is moving up above into a good firing arc on the Odysseus. But I have to give the Odysseus credit here. It does a really good job of tracking the K through that maneuver and keeping its missiles and main battery and plasma all on target. And so it is really keeping up that damage, and although the K is almost in firing range, it is not going to matter because the Odysseus has gotten enough damage in. That K is about to blow the heck up. It did, however, cost us, I believe, all escorts except this 1 Cobra. So that was a little bit of a Pyrrhic victory. That's going to do it for the main K clips, but here's a fun little bonus clip for you. While it plays in the background, let me talk you through the results. Please keep in mind that these results don't necessarily reflect the overall quality of the ships, just their performance in this particular role. In 3rd place, we have the Odysseus, with the highest price and worst performance at 3 wins, 3 losses. It did tons of damage when it got its guns on target and kept them there, but it struggled to do both those things. Mainly, it appeared, due to its size and shape, and its low defensive stats. It very literally stuck its nose where it didn't belong. In 2nd place, we had the Phoenix, with the cheapest cost and a respectable record of 4 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. This was the only ship that could survive sustained close quarters combat with the K. That's where the draw came from. They brawled and brawled until neither one had enough turrets left to break the other's shield recharge. Ultimately, the Phoenix's performance was pretty impressive, but it was limited by its small escort wing. Then, there's the Behemoth, our clear winner with a perfect 6-0 record. Its large escort wing and its very generous turret arcs allowed it to quickly and consistently strip the K's engines and turrets, after which, well, the end came swiftly. This was an outstanding performance. Really impressive. The Behemoth was so impressive that I decided to put it up against an Eye. I ran it once with the same configuration I've been using, and it lost, just barely, with under 10% hull left on the Eye. I ran it again, but replaced this captain with a 5-star elite, and it lost again, with just 6% hull left on the Eye. I ran it again with the 5-star captain and its full capacity of 12 fighters, and it won comfortably, but there was some interference from the split, so I discarded that run. Which brings us to this run. 5-star captain, and I've manually ordered the fighter wing to clear the Eye's escorts and then disable its engines before I order in the destroyer. Order-wise, it's not nearly as clean as just a plain old coordinated attack, but the piloting is still all AI, and I do not micromanage during the fight. So we're running very low on our escorts, but the K's escorts are down, and the Shi's are starting to chip away at the Eye's engines. Another Shi has dropped, but so has one engine, it looks like. And so I have ordered in the Behemoth. Still have 3 Shis left and still one very healthy engine, and if that Eye can get even remotely close to the Behemoth, well, it's game over. So let's see, can our 3 remaining escorts heroically finish off this last engine? Talk about heroic. Barely any shields left and it charged in. And, well, it looks like a pretty predictable result. Yeah? Switched over to another escort here, as squinting, looking on the mini-map, trying to see if that other heroic one is surviving. And it is. Look there, up at the top. Very nice. Now the Behemoth is in range and opening up. It's having a little bit of trouble getting its guns to bear, but it looks like it has figured it out now. And, luckily enough, it has a good firing angle on the engine here, so that is probably going to explode here very soon. Especially with the help of what appears to be our very last Shi. Yep, there it goes. That last firing run finished it off. And so, well, as mighty as the Eye is, well, with its engine blown out and the Behemoth sitting comfortably out at 8.8 kilometers, it's a sitting duck. And the Behemoth with this configuration does have enough damage to break the Eye's shield recharge. Not by that much, but you can see it wobbling back and forth up there. But slowly but surely, it is going to go down. The Eye has brought in a couple more escorts, which appear to have just finished off the last Shi. Lived long enough to do its job. I'm seeing a couple of Ks starting to approach in the background there, which appears non-ideal. Behemoth still just hammering away. It's now under fire from the escorts, and especially back in the day, that could have spelled disaster, as the escorts could have just pushed the Behemoth into the Eye's guns. That would have been that. It's showing pretty good restraint now, though. Having a 5-star captain, at least in the last patch, having a 5-star captain helped a lot with that. Having high morale makes the captain less likely to move the ship when it's attacked, which means it's less likely to get chased into hostile guns by a fairly small escort attack. We are saying one thing about these dumbfire missiles, which is that they are very good at blowing up turrets. Now with the engine still down, a couple of turrets down, and all the shields gone, the only thing left to do is try and make sure these 2 Ks don't spoil the party, so I am sending in my remaining destroyers that were waiting off in the wings. Doesn't look like it's really going to matter, because that Eye is going down. Getting very close. Getting very close. And there it is. It did look like it managed to repair one engine right at the end there, but it was too little too late, and the mighty Eye is down. So once again, impressive work from the Behemoth. It did take more clicks to make it happen than with just the Ks, but it did make it happen. And that's it. That's all I have for you. Kept it pretty straightforward this time. Really just wanted to show off these clips of what the destroyers can do with the new designs and the new AI, and just a halfway decent little escort wing. I was really impressed, especially by the Behemoth, still impressed by the Phoenix, and honestly, even the Odysseus. 50% win rate against a K could be a lot worse. Could be a whole lot worse. I ran into a few little bugs here and there along the run. Occasionally, the destroyers would really struggle to track the K. Occasionally, the K would forget to fire. And occasionally, the destroyers would get a little bit stuck and not quite know what to do. But those were the vast minority of runs. Generally speaking, everything was really textbook cookie cutter. Escorts pinned down the target, and the destroyer just laid into it. I was really happy to see that, and, well, I had a pretty good time with this. I hope you all enjoyed as well. Thank you for watching. Hope you'll tune in next time. And until then, this is Captain Snuggles, signing off.